Yeah, Moncton seemed like a nice city, but I couldn't really find a good downtown area to play. There might very well be one, but I couldn't find it, and it was too hot out anyways. I just felt like hitting the road again, so the wind through the windows would cool me and the kitty off. So I decided to head towards PEI. It's really just the next logical step, even though I really hear Nova Scotia, Halifax, and my family down on the French shore calling. But if I went down there right now, I'd probably end up skipping right over PEI because the next logical step from Nova Scotia is up through Cape Breton and over to Newfoundland, and it would be a lot of backtracking to get to the bridge. Big long bridge that connects Prince Edward Island to the mainland. So I figured I better go up and check out that island before I pass it right by. Figure it'll be a little nicer weather too, not so hot, surrounded by the ocean. Hard to say, it's a guess anyways. Yeah, New Brunswick is a beautiful province. I'm glad I spent as much time as I did there, but there's a lot more to see out there. So I keep going down the road. The landscape, though, for the most part, is still a lot like home. Like, it's more mountainous, more hills and winding roads, but still kind of the same. All forests and farmers' fields and little small towns that you can tell when you're getting near one. You start to see more and more houses and little shops and buildings, car dealerships, and you can always kind of tell when you're getting close to town. I skipped through so many small towns on this trip that I wish I could have stopped in, just wide spot in the road with a corner store and a church. So many of them I wish I could stop and just stay there for a week and chat with enough people that I can meet the local pieces of culture, so to speak. Some people out there are in themselves a piece of culture. This is what I'm learning so far on this trip. Some people embody a spirit that, well, I don't want to say is bigger than them, because that takes away from their part that they play in it. But you meet some people who are just an institution unto themselves. Is different. Yeah, some parts of New Brunswick I noticed are very francophone, really further north and closer to Quebec, and it makes sense for the history of the area. The French were here long before the British decided to come along. And though it is nice getting now down to more Anglo places where people that I talk to can be more sure to understand what I'm saying. It would be nice to know French, but the Ontario school system didn't teach us very fluently. They really just taught us a whole bunch of filler. Like, though I guess they taught the structure, because I know enough to be able to figure out what I have to say when I have to say it. But I have a hard enough time doing that in English anyways, so maybe I can't blame the school system. But making more miles, and the closer I could get to the ocean, you can feel it in the air. And it's nice. It's a cool feeling, instead of the heat of being inland. And, well, the summertime is better for keeping alive traveling than the winter is, but I'd almost rather be set in one place for the summer just to be able to avoid the heat. How Canadian of me. Most of what I just talk about is the weather. But the weather's something every one of us has to deal with. It really brings people together, either enjoying it or hating it. Can't imagine what it would be like to live somewhere down south where they don't even get 4 seasons. It'd be nice to visit, but I do like the change that the seasons bring. And as I go out this way, I see a lot more other travelers, campers and truck trailers and adventurers. There's a lot of that out east here. So as I approached this bridge, it was really a strange feeling. It was a sight to see. And then climbing it, realizing that's the Atlantic Ocean I'm seeing spread out all around me. Oh, it's something else. Couldn't believe how long it just goes on and on forever, so I didn't edit anything out to the bridge in the video here, so people can really get a feel for it. It takes a good 10-12 minutes to cross doing the speed limit. I'm glad it was a nice, beautiful day out, not too much wind. The water down off of the bridge looked calm enough. I almost want to put the canoe in it, but that'd be a bad idea. The ocean can change in the blink of an eye. If I'm gonna put the canoe in some salt water, it'll be an inlet somewhere where things stay calm and I don't have to deal with too much rocking and rolling and sinking. Yeah, it's a wonder of engineering, this bridge. It just goes on forever and ever. The reason it got built is pretty much because the island had an agreement with the federal government that they would always, the government, they would always keep a steady ferry system for the people of the island to get back and forth, which was pretty difficult in the winter back in the day, apparently. They had these little ice boats that people would pilot back and forth across the channel, and more often than not, the passengers in the boat would have to get out and help push through the slush when they'd get to a long, flat, frozen spot. Yeah, so as technology got better, the icebreaker ships got going, but still the hassle of keeping that system alive eventually made the government just say, we'll build you a bridge and call it good. We don't have to upkeep the ferry system anymore. So that's what they did. Can't imagine taking a paddle boat across this channel. Takes long enough in the truck doing 80 kilometers an hour. Taking a boat across there would be a real task. And so the way the toll for the bridge works is you don't have to pay a cent to come over and go to the island, but when you want to leave, it costs you $50 or something. So they want people to come, but they don't want them to leave. Yes, also that's so that anyone who belongs there can always make their way home. That's a pretty good idea as well. Yeah, it's amazing though. Everything on the island that gets shipped in, either it's coming by an actual ship or it's coming on a truck across this bridge. That's a lot of traffic every day. Lots of tourists too, I suppose. I don't like to think that I'm a tourist. I don't like to do touristy sort of things. I like to get out and see things my own way. I got all excited about seeing the Atlantic Ocean for the first time, and then I had to remind myself I've seen it before, but from the other side. Back when I was younger, I worked in a feed mill in my teen years and saved up a nice bit of money, and then high school had a March break trip where we got to go to Europe if you could pay up for it, and I used my hard-earned savings to go see a little bit of Ireland and England and Wales, and I did see the Atlantic Ocean and dipped my boots in it, but it was from the other side. So this is my first time seeing the Canadian Atlantic, and it is beautiful. Just goes on forever. Though what I'm seeing here off the bridge isn't even really the Atlantic, it's a channel between the island and the mainland, but it's close enough to get excited about. I'll see the real open, wide, distant, nothing out there till you get to Europe kind of ocean in another few weeks. Down at the tip of Cape Breton and then on the ferry across to Newfoundland. Excited about that, though I'm unsure how that's going to work with the kitty cat. I might need to get a little kennel for her, because if I leave her in the truck for 7-8 hours, I don't know how long the ferry ride is, but I think it's a good 7 or 8 hours or something like that. Like, the kitty should be okay if I leave windows open for her to get airflow and lots of food and water, but I just worry about the little critter. She's my responsibility now. I'd say that she's eating better than me right about now, but I'm eating pretty good, I must say. Lots of bacon and sausages and potatoes and Kraft dinner and whatever I can cook up easy on the Coleman grill. Though I'm gonna check out some seafood restaurants while I'm out here. You gotta try it when you're right so close to the ocean that it's so fresh that you never get that somewhere else inland. So I gotta treat myself. I haven't had a good restaurant sit down with a beer since Kingston. I've had a few McDonald's and Tim Hortons here and there, Burger King on the road to use their internet in their bathroom, but a good sit down in a nice pub with a beer and start chatting with the people around you, that's the way to do it every now and then. Though every time I do, I look at the $30-40 it costs and I think that could have bought a lot of bacon. But it's not just about what you're eating, it's the experience too. You gotta treat yourself a bit. I'm a bit stingy, as my nature just generally is a bit stingy, and I gotta remind myself sometimes you can't take it with you, you gotta enjoy it. Though on this trip, being stingy means I can get further and further down the road. So, there's a balance to be found. Yeah, it's such a ride across this bridge. You can finally see land coming into sight. It's almost a relief. Just going straight between the barriers. It's not difficult or anything to just drive straight, but it's a little unnerving being surrounded by ocean, knowing that one false move, you screw up, you're either going into the drink or you're blocking all access to the island until something can come along and fix the situation. So it's a little bit unnerving, but that's the excitement comes out as nervousness too. You gotta let yourself feel excited, like, at least I have to remind myself to. I'm guessing people watching this, if they've been listening for a few minutes even, they'll realize, yeah, I got a pretty monotone voice. But that doesn't mean I ain't excited when I'm talking about things. It just doesn't show. Might be a little bit of autism, hard to say. I've evaded diagnosis as long as possible because ain't nobody putting labels on me. But I don't think I'm quite normal. People watching this probably figure that out by now. But being normal's boring. Who wants to just be normal? It's alright for a day or two, but eating just plain white bread for a day or two would be alright until you get sick of it. You gotta have a little excitement in life. I got pretty excited coming over this bridge. I wish I captured the audio of me hooping and hollering when I saw the ocean come into view, but it's so loud in the truck, usually I'm listening to the music pretty loud, and the engine's pretty loud, so I don't do any audio while I'm driving. It's all just overdubbed afterwards. But the excitement I felt too when I first saw a big field full of red dirt full of potato plants. Oh, it's, yeah. You can hear Stompin' Tom sing about another big load of potatoes enough times, but when you really see all the countryside and you think of just how big this little island is, there's a lot of agriculture going on here. It's a little bread basket. They do grow a lot of potatoes. That red sandy dirt's famous for it. And it's nice getting to see, like, the scenery really changed when I came over the bridge. It isn't like the mainland. New Brunswick felt enough like Ontario driving around, just a little bit hillier. But getting to the island, the dirt is bright red, and it's hilly in a way that, I guess, it's different from the mainland. It makes sense. It's an island. You can kind of tell how it's been battered by the wind over the years, and it's just a whole different world. It's exciting to see things change and so much. So much farmland. I never realized how much farmland was on this island. And still lots of woods too. They've got a nice balance. And the shorelines are different. I'm used to lake shores, and this is ocean shore, like inlets and salt water. I don't know. I'm rambling, I guess, just about the little differences, but those little differences make it all exciting. And the traffic on the island, people seem to just take their time. It's kind of nice. I'm used to Ontario, where basically the acceptable speed limit is 20 over whatever is posted. Cops won't even stop you unless you're doing more than that. But everyone just seems to be taking their time nicely here on the island. In the buildings, there's a maritime feel to some of the buildings. I don't know, there's a certain style to it that once you see it and you notice it, it's different from home. It's exciting, but it also kind of feels like home. soon enough we'll be meeting some family members and I'll really be down home. But for now, on the island, checking things out.